description. Alright, so Paranormal Investigator by KWMX, or Quimix, or Entropy Devs, or Khaled. Play as a paranormal investigator and hunt the shapeshifter, but be careful, you only have one bullet. Oh, okay. So it's Titan Souls. The game. There are various objects around the room, and the shapeshifter is one of them. Every 1 minute, the shapeshifter will change its location and will transform to another object. So you need to memorize the object and their location in order to find it. You have only one chance. If you choose the wrong object, you lose. Entropy development. Entropied. Programmer is Faisal Al-Hisan, and art is Khaled Makshoush. I probably butchered those names. I apologize. That's all I have to say about that. Let's get this started with. Right on! We're going to be full screening this. I'm going to be keeping a tradition of full screening as much as possible, but that does mean that we're going to be missing out on a chat. We're not going to be able to see it, so apologies for that. Hopefully we're going to get a second set of computer to do that job for us, but here it is in full screen! There's no music. Entropy development. It looks like you can click on this. We'll worry about that later. Let's play. Oh my goodness, why have I made this poor decision? Yeah, let's go with that. Alright. Today, I was contacted. Oh my god, it's Ariel. Today, I was contacted by a client about suspicious activity. I was told the house furniture was moving around, and they were getting strangely misplaced. It does smell like a shapeshifter. Okay. I've gotten a one-of-a-kind bullet to deal with such a creature. I need to be careful what to shoot. It's my one and only chance. Okay. Shampoo, clean, and neat, like a treat. Oh, there's text. Wax on, wax off. Loofah. Toothpaste. Do you trust a dentist? Okay, these apparently can't transform. Guitar. Holding this will make you look cool. T-shirt. We can't always be creative. Whoa, what was that? The shapeshifter seems to be powerful. I need to be careful it's not messing with your mind. Should I buy an MP3 version? It's a very expensive base. That game controller. Entropy 180 controller. You can do stuff with it. It doesn't look like anything here changed. That's another guitar. Holding this will make it look cool. Another vinyl. The Stone Pixel album. Stoner, psychedelic, blues, drone, doom, etc. Okay. Indeed. Etc. is a true genre of its own. The controls are a little weird and clunky, but at the same time, I feel like that's not a real big negative to this game. Entropy, Baz. Lots of condiments. Ninja Burger. Okay, yeah, it looks like you play that game. Things are being moved around. I need to keep memorizing this everything. So okay. So let's retrace our steps. Make sure that nothing that. Oh, hey, look, there's that plot of plants that I only have one shot. Shoot. After 3 blackouts, you were hunt down the shapeshifter. You were able to hunt down the shapeshifter and kill him. Object of the shifter has transformed to Tidy Detergent, okay, a Ninja Burger, and a plant. Thank you for playing our little game. We hope you enjoyed it. Okay. Let's try that again. Alright. Oh, that's a game console. Very optimistic. TV. Very optimistic. Yeah, it's very optimistic. Hey. That's a soap. T-shirt. E-phone as an electric phone. T-shirt. More e-phones, more guitars. Tidy wash powder, not for snorting. Tidy bleach. Apply to clothes only. More stuff that's not for supporting. There's the detergent. You spend a lot of time like pulling these names together, various text together, I mean. There's a TV in the middle of the room, a frying pan. Squeeze dispenser. You might think of the Al's mustard out there. Good for fighting zombies. Bots. That looks weird. Alright. Survey. Game console, blah 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 bar. A game controller, same thing. Think see anything here different. Oh, wait, something seems different here. But my memory is terrible. I'm a programmer. Wait a minute, was this there? Shoot it. After 2 blackouts, you were able to hunt down the shapeshifter and kill him. Kill it. So, which there was no way for me to figure it out, and then Kleenex tissues, which I did figure out. So in other words, I actually got it immediately after the blackout. Huh. Okay, I guess this game is really easy for me. Close. Yay! Then there's a bunch of other stuff. Alright. You did pronounce it just fine. So, right. That happened. That was actually fairly simple as a game. So yeah, let's talk about rating it. Innovation. I'm kind of reminded of that Mario Party game where it's about like, you know, figure out what's changed kind of thing. And there's something interesting to be had when, you know, not only do you have each item be limited in the view scope of what you can see, but there's also something interesting in the sense that you've got there where every item has a description on its own. So that I thought was really interesting. It's actually really fascinating that you chose to do with a 1 bullet system. My guess is that that's the only way you were able to make sense out of the whole game. Like if you had multiple shots, you know, and there were multiple shapeshifters, there'll be like no way to figure out whether you got it right or not first time around, I guess. You could try to implement it that way. Anyways, fair enough. You try to minimize the effort in the way it is, and that makes sense to me for the game jam sets of things. So the scope was obviously kept to a minimum. There isn't a whole lot that I have to complain about. You know, the game concept is fine, if a little simplistic for me. It's, you know, mostly about memorization. I'm kind of slightly torn on the, I guess, presentation, because you have a story going along, that's all good and all. But every once in a while, it seems like, you know, a dialogue would pop up after a blackout, and then you'll be reading it, but the timer will also still be going down, and I feel like that was a little unfair to me. But I mean, like that to me is not something that's going to highly affect, I feel, with the rating either. So I guess that's not the part that I'm kind of torn with. I don't know. I think there was something to me that made me think like, this is kind of really simple, and I kind of wanted more, but I'm not quite seeing it. You know what? I don't know how to kind of phrase that. I feel like I want more to be there for me to think it was a particularly fun game. But well, anyways, let's talk about rating here. Innovation, I mentioned earlier Mario Party, so I personally consider that, like, first off, taking a single Mario Party game and kind of bringing it out to its own game is, I think, perfectly fine. Certainly not something I've seen commonly, but again, I feel like I have seen it before. Since it's rather uncommon, I'd say it's pretty good on the innovation scale here. Fun! I mentioned that I feel like this game is a little too simplistic, but at the same time, like, I did quickly figure out what to do. So, and like, I kind of like the lore building actually, so I'll give it an extra star for that. Theme. This is an interesting take on the theme. There's only a single shapeshifter, and you don't really get to see it shapeshift whenever. But I do think that this is an interesting interpretation of the theme, so I'll give it all 5 stars there. Although, as mentioned earlier, I don't personally couldn't take theme all that seriously when it comes to rating the overall. The graphics, personally, I think it could use a little more work. That's just me. My main problem actually has more to do with the fact that it is so devoted to the top-down perspective, which I understand makes things a lot easier, but like there's a lot of things that are so abstract when it's still that I come close to it and I'm like, is that just a bar with a little circle there? And I mouse over it and it's like, oh, it's a TV. Like I won't have known that without the mouse hover thing, and I feel like the graphics should accommodate for that. Like a little more Zelda-like perspective would have been nice in this case, in other words. Humor? Yeah. 3 stars. Wasn't exactly laugh out loud, but I did think it was pretty funny at a couple of places. I'm really surprised with the amount of text you were able to put in there, so I give it full stars for mood. I know that's, mood is, I've been all over the place with mood specifically, but for this case, I'm willing to give it full stars for the amount of effort put into just describing each individual object. And like I said, I personally had a lot of fun just doing that alone. And I don't know, that's for me, like, I find that lore building interesting, and it's nothing particularly special, but I personally like it. Yeah, I think this is averaging around to like a 4-star level kind of things, because the places where to me it counts the most, the lore building and whether the game idea is solid or not, I think counts for a really good score. Presentation could use a little more work. Obviously, I think the graphics could use a little help. But yeah, overall, I thought I had a very satisfying experience with this. So yeah. Huh. Found this game to be pretty easy. I figured out what was the shapeshifter within one blackout on the second playthrough. Now that I'm curious.
I was gonna run for pizza. Do you want anything?
No thanks. Appreciate it though. I'm curious what happens if you just shoot something random. Yeah, play. Alarm clock, no snooze button. Yeah, shoot it. After one blackout, you fail to take down the shapeshifter, and instead wasted a very valuable bullet. Ah, okay, that's what happens. Good to know. I just had to find out. Okay, found this game to be pretty easy. Figured out the shapeshifter was in one blackout on the second playthrough. I think the concept is pretty good. Personally, I thought it was a little too simple and could use some help extending the idea with more elements. Um, I also wasn't a big fan of the strictly top-down. Top-down view, as it made it harder to discern certain objects from any abstract shape. More Zelda, old school Zelda-like perspective would have helped. I really love the text though. They're silly, but do a whole lot to give the game some personality. I think I got too distracted with them the first time. So yeah, I kind of like that game. I think it needs a little more work in the sense that it just needs to extend that idea to not only just more levels, but like more complex ideas. Maybe on top of memorization, there's some sort of hints that you have to be able to discern from each single object. I don't know. But I feel like, what you had there was solid. What you had there was pleasant to play. And it just needs, I just feel like, that there could be more to it. So that's, I guess, why I'm feeling slightly disappointed with it. But I do feel like it was a polished effort, and it was more importantly a pleasant experience to go through. So yeah, that's my opinion on that regards.